Introduction. Lupe was once a woman trapped in a cycle of pain, betrayal, and self-doubt. Living with a husband who cheated on her repeatedly, she found solace only in food, her comfort and escape from the emotional turmoil. Her weight soared to over 600 pounds, making everyday life a monumental challenge. But deep inside, Lupe yearned for change, for liberation, for herself. Chapter 1. The Breaking Point. Lupe's life was a whirlwind of heartbreak and dependency. Her husband's infidelity was a constant reminder of her worthlessness. She would eat to numb the pain, each bite piling on more weight, more shame. Her health declined rapidly, and she felt like she was suffocating under the weight of her emotional and physical burdens. One night, after discovering yet another betrayal, Lupe reached her breaking point. Standing alone in her dimly lit home, she looked at herself in the mirror, her reflection a stranger. In that moment, she decided she couldn't live like this anymore. Chapter 2. The Decision to Change. Lupe reached out for help. She found a support group for people struggling with obesity, and she began to see that her life could be different. She started therapy, addressing her emotional wounds. Her doctor discussed her weight loss options, and Lupe committed herself to a grueling journey of surgery, diet, and physical therapy. Her motivation was clear: she wanted to reclaim her life, to find happiness and independence away from her abusive marriage. Chapter 3. Leaving the Past Behind. The turning point came when Lupe finally confronted her husband. She told him she was leaving, that her health and happiness mattered more than his betrayal. The breakup wasn't easy. She faced heartbreak, anger, and fear. But Lupe was determined. She moved out, into a new apartment, where she could finally breathe freely. Her friends and support network cheered her on, and she felt a renewed sense of purpose. Chapter 4. The Weight Loss Journey. Lupe's weight loss journey was arduous. She underwent bariatric surgery, which helped her shed hundreds of pounds. Each milestone was a victory, but also a reminder of how far she had come from her past life. She started exercising, eating healthier, and rediscovering herself. Her confidence grew with each pound lost. Her story inspired others struggling with similar issues, and she became an advocate for change. Chapter 5. Rebuilding Confidence and Independence. With her weight loss came a newfound sense of independence. Lupe started working again, making new friends, and exploring hobbies she had long abandoned. She even started dating again, learning to trust herself and others. Her journey was not just physical but emotional. She learned to love herself, forgive her past, and embrace her future. Chapter 6. Reflection and Moving Forward. Today, Lupe is a different woman. She has lost over 435 pounds, transforming her body and her life. She no longer depends on food or her abusive marriage for comfort. Instead, she finds strength within herself. Her story is a testament to resilience, the power of change, and the importance of self-love. She now dedicates her life to helping others find their own path to healing and happiness. Conclusion: where is Lupe now? Lupe lives in a peaceful, self-sufficient life. She works as a motivational speaker, sharing her story to inspire others. She maintains her health through balanced living and exercise. Her relationships are healthier, and she's finally at peace with herself. Her journey from a woman weighed down by emotional and physical burdens to a beacon of hope and strength embodies the true meaning of transformation. Lupe's story reminds us that no matter how dark the past, the future can always be rewritten. Final note. Lupe's story is a poignant reminder that transformation is possible with determination, support, and self-love. Her journey from despair to hope exemplifies resilience and the extraordinary capacity for change within us all. Certainly, here's an extended, creative narrative exploring Lupe's story, her inner struggles, and her journey toward transformation. Due to the length constraints here, I will start with a detailed opening and outline, then proceed with a substantial portion of the story. If you'd like, I can continue further in subsequent messages. Title: Breaking the Chains, The Journey of Lupe. Part 1. The Weight of the World. Lupe's story begins in a small, cluttered apartment filled with echoes of her silent suffering. The walls, once vibrant with hope and dreams, now bore the weight of years of neglect, both emotional and physical. Her body, over 600 pounds, was a fortress built from years of hiding her pain behind layers of food, a silent rebellion against the betrayals and heartbreaks that had defined her existence. Her husband, Marco, was charming on the surface but a master of deception beneath. The countless nights she spent waiting for him, hoping he would come home with a changed heart, only to discover yet another betrayal, had chipped away at her self-esteem. Each infidelity was a dagger, each lie a wound that refused to heal. Lupe's world shrank with each passing day, her pain compounded by her growing size, which made even the simplest tasks monumental challenges. Food became her closest confidant. In moments of despair, she reached for what comfort she could find: chips, cakes, fried foods, anything that dulled the ache inside her chest. The act was mindless but necessary. It was her way of silencing the voices of doubt, shame, and loneliness. She knew she was gaining weight, knew her body was becoming a barrier between her and the world, but she felt powerless to stop. Yet, beneath the layers of fat and despair, a spark of hope flickered. A quiet voice in her heart whispered that she deserved more than this: a life of dignity, love, and self-respect. A life where she could stand tall, breathe freely, and find happiness not in food but in herself. Part 2. The Awakening. One rainy afternoon, Lupe sat alone in her cluttered living room, surrounded by remnants of her comfort foods. Her eyes fell on an old photo album, dusty and forgotten. Flipping through the pages, she saw images of herself in happier days, before marriage, before betrayal, before her body became a prison. As she stared at her younger self, a tear slipped down her cheek. It was then that she realized she had been living in a fog of pain and denial. She had spent years blaming Marco, blaming her circumstances, blaming genetics. But deep down, she understood that her greatest enemy had been her own acceptance of suffering. That day marked the beginning of her awakening. Lupe made a silent promise to herself: to seek help, to find her strength, to reclaim her life. She knew the road ahead would be arduous, filled with obstacles and setbacks, but she was ready to confront her fears. Part 3. The First Steps. Lupe reached out to a local support group for individuals struggling with obesity and emotional trauma. She was hesitant at first, fearing judgment or rejection. But to her surprise, she found understanding and encouragement. Hearing others share their stories, she realized she was not alone. With the support of new friends, she began to explore small changes, walking short distances, altering her diet gradually, seeking therapy to address her emotional wounds. Each step was difficult, but each was also a victory. Her journey was not linear. There were days of despair, moments when she wanted to give up. But she clung to her hope, reminding herself that her worth was not defined by her body or her pain. It was rooted in her resilience. Part 4. The Turning Point. Months turned into a year. Lupe lost weight, not just physically but emotionally. She rediscovered passions she had long abandoned: painting, gentle yoga, writing. She started to see herself not as a victim but as a survivor. Her relationship with Marco became strained. Confronted with her transformation, he was forced to face his own choices. Some of his excuses fell away, revealing a man who had taken her for granted. Lupe realized she deserved honesty and respect, and she made the brave decision to set boundaries. Her newfound confidence inspired her to pursue a career in counseling, helping others who felt trapped as she once did. She began to speak openly about her journey, her pain, and her triumphs, becoming a beacon of hope for many. Part 5. Liberation and Self-Love. The culmination of Lupe's journey was not just physical weight loss but emotional liberation. She learned to love herself, flaws, scars, and all. She built a life rooted in authenticity and compassion. Lupe's story became one of resilience, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to heal and transform. Her journey was far from over, but she no longer walked in darkness. She carried within her the light of hope and the knowledge that true freedom begins within.